So yesterday we talked about understanding yourself, right? And when you start to do that, what you start to come to realize is that there are you get lost in what you're doing. Your brain, right? Maybe a lot of us, if you talk to your parents, they might have examples of this when you were small, 2 or 3, 5 or 6, or whatever. There were things you would do where you just be so lost in it, right? You lose track of time. Some kids, it's TV, some is working with Legos, but there are things where you get lost and you truly start to just focus on things that are important to you outside of context. I mean, to be exact, someone giving you Legos is the context, but you're lost in something that is truly you, and you find these type of things. So I'm going to give you some examples of how you can leverage that in your life. I'll have to use coaching because those are the only ones I know well, but I'll try some other examples from other people that I've seen, things that they're really, really good at, and show how it can help them in their lives. So here's an application. In my life, some things I like to do is sort of help people, right? Now, doesn't mean I'm Mother Teresa, but I know that if I can teach, let's say teach people. I like teaching. However, what is very difficult to do is to teach people you care for. So, for instance, anyone will tell you, trying to teach your children or your partner, your wife or husband or someone you care about, brother, sister, something, it's just difficult to do. It's just not going to, you get emotional, you get caught up, you get triggered because you want them so badly to change. And it's a very subtle, but there's a context that subconsciously is working at you, something that's grabbed your heartstrings that you're not aware of, that is sabotaging this good work you could be doing. So I'll give you an example. My wife, for instance, she is someone who is constantly trying new things. And as a coach, that's a great person to be working with, someone you can give advice to and support, etc. But the typical coaching techniques that you use when you're talking to someone is, such as listening, obviously, trying to get that person to come up with their own solutions. No manipulation, just really helping them work out, clear their mind, etc. are things that you do. But when you care for someone, you usually have a strong opinion. Like if you care for something, you have a strong opinion. You have a strong opinion what the president should be doing, what the prime minister should be doing, what your teacher should be doing, whatever. You have a strong opinion. When you have a strong opinion, you want that opinion to come out. You find yourself trying to get your opinion to win the day. You want to be correct. This is what happens to people, and they argue and they start debating. You don't need to debate with people. So what I would find what I needed to do, and this is me practicing being myself, was listening. And it is hard. Not everyone can do this, right? And I don't do it consistently sometimes, but really just listening, letting them talk, letting them speak. Let me explain the results of this. What winds up happening is people like people that allow them to speak. I'm not saying you go over to your friend who just talks and doesn't care about you and just practice listening. That can be draining to yourself. I'm talking about when you're working with someone whom you want to coach, right? Whom you want to help, whom you want to work with. Let them speak. I had to start watching, I'm getting derailed. When Sasha would speak about something, I would say, well, as a husband, of course, I would say, I know better. Or, my brain would tell me, I know better. Look at that. I was right. Or something would start to get me to want to voice my opinion, to voice my righteousness, etc. And you have to shut that down and practice. We've been together 10 years, 10 years, and starting to get it right, type of thing. But anyway, the result of that is twofold. People like people who allow them to speak, whom they feel they can open themselves up to, first and foremost. So you start getting more information, right? And with more information, you can coach even better. First thing happens. Second, if you stop telling people what to do, right? Really telling them what to do, their ego is a little less guarded with you. They're not worried about being judged. They're not worried about being, what's the word? What's the word in English? Criticized. That's it. Yeah, it's been in this country way too long. They're not worried about being criticized. And the things that you do, your attitude, your behaviors, if they're good ones at least, they'll start to mimic those. They'll start to value what you do, not so much what you say. So I'll find her saying things and using terms that I use, or saying, remember when you said this, Henry? I took, you start to influence people in ways you did not know. Okay, I'll use an example, just a social media example that I think all of us can relate to, is you see something on social media that you support, and you want to get that message out there in the world, and you want to just share it with people, and you want people to believe it, you want to get lots of likes, etc. Going back to yesterday about context is key. Going out there and posting something at once isn't going to change a lot of minds. It's not going to make you happy. Let's not even talk about changing minds. Talk about making you happy. If you don't get enough likes, you're going to be upset. If people send negative comments, you're going to be upset. If someone disagrees or something like that, a part of you is going to feel wronged in a way. Very likely. You might not. You may be beyond that. But, people check the likes. We check how many hearts we got and those type of things. And those are derailing you. So when you see something that you feel is correct, or something that you feel strongly about, you should ask yourself, why am I doing this? Right? Is doing this going to help me achieve what I personally need to achieve my goal? If you don't know what your goal is, if you're feeling, a lot of times you're feeling maybe lost, or you just feeling right gives you a jolt. It's like popping sugar when you're sleepy, or taking a pill to give you energy, or drinking Red Bull. It's a temporary fix. It's not a permanent fix. It's that finding yourself that's the key fix, and then incorporating into everything you do. So, but it is hard, as I said before. If for instance, mine is coaching, mine is teaching, but teaching people you care for is hard. So I have to be mindful that I'm getting derailed because of the emotional attachment I have to someone. I'm not teaching effectively. If you want to be someone who's starting your own business, for instance, I'll give you an example of someone who asked me, they're trying to start their own business, they're trying to network. And, when people think about networking, they think of a lot of things, mostly negative, right? You're talking to people, selling yourself, you're trying to get people to buy into you, you're manipulating people, you're trying to rip them off. It's a lot of negativity regarding networking. I've never thought of it that way, negatively. That's because I like people. I don't think of it as a game. I go out, I'm going to meet some new people. I don't always feel this way. Some days I don't want to do this. But in general, it's a great thing for me to meet people. But let's use networking, for example. You want to start a business. Now, the goal itself, the money, the power, the whatever, those kind of things, those things will come. Just trust me on this one. This will come. But you have to get out of your own way and put yourself in the best position. And that is being who you are, allowing your natural talents to show. So when you're trying to do networking, the goal itself is not to try to convince people you're the awesomest in the room, or you're the best person in the room, right? Your goal is to go in there and be yourself. Because if you cannot, let's put it this way, if you go out there and you fake it, right? You fake it, try to be nice and smiling, people like you. You can't do that consistently for 5-10 years, or even 5 or 10 months. It's just going to burn you out, and you're going to see cycles of failure, cycles of certain types of failure. I've seen this from executives even. I've seen people who are really good at something, but try to be people, or try to do something, and they're just not good at it, right? And they just keep, in certain areas they succeed, but in certain key areas they fail consistently. So you're out there networking, just to be honest, when you're meeting people, the goal itself is to meet people, to create a larger network, a community, supporters, etc., like-minded people to help you in your business. But people help you if you can provide value to them. And that value, if you're going out there smiling, and you're not a smiley person, let's say, you're smiling, and you're trying to get people to support you as a smiley person, eventually that'll break down. You're not the smiley person. Don't fake that. But if you're a technical person with technical skills, with certain skills, etc., then start to imbue that in your networking. Here's a key example. Say you're a technical person, IT, this. You're in a networking situation. Key number one, everyone in that networking situation is more than likely focused on themselves. There's something they want in that evening, something they're trying to get. And that's just the way it is. You're not going to convince someone to change their mind. If they're looking for strawberry pickers and you're a blueberry salesman, they're not going to listen to you regardless of how awesome your blueberries are. If you are a technical person and people are looking for speech writers, that's not going to work for you. So what you want to do, obviously, is find out how many people need technical people. Right? So your goal in networking is not to go out there and say, look how awesome I am, look how great I am, but it's to find out more about the people around you. Gets back to my original topic, not under the topic, but previously what I said before. People like people that allow them to talk, allow them to emote and to communicate themselves openly. So when you go to networking sessions, be in the mindset that I'm going to learn. Right? Not only, and not even learn for your business, because that'll get in the way. You'll be sitting there thinking, okay, if I learn about this person, how can I use this? How can I work? You're going to be truly not in the moment. You're going to be so worried about, is this information helpful? Is this person going to help me? Is that person going to help me? That you're going to derail yourself. You know, when you're sitting in front of the TV watching television, or you're eating your dinner, or you're just sitting chatting with a friend, you're not, a true friend that is, you're not necessarily worried about how's this person see me? What's going to happen? You're in the moment. You're yourself. That's why people like you, right? The people who like you because they see you. And that's what you want to have out there. Don't go thinking about it. Am I going to make $1 million from this person? Am I going to get that thing I need from this networking session? Truly go out there and just be yourself. That will make people feel comfortable, because people will see through it. If you're faking it, they'll see it. You know, most intelligent people, will see through that to some degree. But the more point is about yourself. You'll start to learn information about people. You'll start to get feedback about you. So let's say, for instance, if you get a win, a real good win, someone listens to you and says, you know what, I like you, Bob, or I like you, Barbara, or whatever your name is, Takako or Taka, or whatever. Subconsciously, you'll say, wait, this person recognized me for me, like me for me. And if they didn't like you, they didn't like you for you, and you understand, hey, that's not a person for me. But there's no faking there. And your mind starts to build this confidence that you couldn't do otherwise. You couldn't do it by faking it, right? You couldn't build that confidence by faking it. You'll build confidence in a false narrative, so to speak. But it builds within yourself. So networking 101. Don't network, learn, right? You learn, and then you start to get information like Google. And that's a funny thing. Okay, sorry, I'm jumping around, but let me give you an example. Everyone uses Google. Everyone uses YouTube to some degree. Everyone uses social media. And yet, very few people who use it understand the power of it. And the power isn't in you voicing your message and getting it out there, because rarely does social media allow people to start revolutions or whatever. They can communicate, but that's a myth for the most part. What it is information. You know what people like, what they don't like, what they want, what they don't want, what turns them on, what turns them off. Now, if you're a good person, you'll use that information for good. If you're a bad person, use it for bad. So just knowing that information isn't a bad thing. But that's what you are. You're becoming this social network that is gaining data and information on people that allows you to say, okay, where do I fit? You'll meet 10 people, understand something about these 10 people, and then you can say, okay, where can I add value to those people? If you had gone out and just talked about, hey, here's my company, I have software, or here's an example, happens to me all the time, you're an HR person, I'm a recruiter. Hey, I'm a recruiter. I'm like, I know 1,000 recruiters, and frankly, in the end, I'll probably wind up working with those companies in some way, shape, or form. But to be honest, when I go to a networking session, the moment someone starts telling me something, I'm like, dude, I got problems and issues at work that I need solved. And the person who's going to come to me and just ask me, hey, what's up? How are you? What do you do? Oh, that's interesting. What challenges do you have? And not sell me a damn thing. Those are the people I go the extra mile for, because they made me feel good. They when you're busy or you're tired, the last thing you want is someone me. You get that from your family, your kids. They're the ones asking for attention all the time. You'll give it to them, but sometimes you don't have the bandwidth to be just giving to people. So, in networking, it's not about networking at all. Zero. Key to happiness really is, many things. And first and foremost is most people, pardon my French, are full of shit. And they will tell you what they think is correct, what they think is right. And you're networking, you got to do this and do that and whatever. And it's about the game or whatever. It's about you. It's about really understanding who you are, and then finding out how you can add value, right? Where is it that where do you belong? And you only learn that from learning, from listening, from hearing about what's going on. The less talking you do, the better for the most part. So anyway, key to happiness. I talked previously about finding out who you are and the disruption and trying to understand when you get disrupted, when you get sabotaged and hijacked by triggers, right? And then, once you sort of figure that out, you start to figure out who you are, then you can start networking. That means, doesn't mean going to network sessions. It means just start going out there as yourself, going out there and learning about what's going on and saying, okay, I know who I am. I know that situation. Can I add value there and get some return? No. Okay, this situation. I know who I am. I know that situation or that person. Can I add value? Yes. Then you engage them. That's step 2 in happiness. So now that you know yourself, now it's about listening. We'll talk tomorrow about the tools of listening, the tools of getting information. And then as we move on, we'll start getting more, as you send me more questions and I'll give more answers, we'll start getting into real context, real situations. The situation I gave you is primarily to me, coaching, HR, a couple people who I know who are technical people. I, gave some examples for that, but we'll get into more concrete examples. And then we'll get into, I'm talking about professional stuff, but then personal things, right? I've been divorced twice. I've been in very successful and failed relationships, but I consider myself happy, successful. Maybe you don't. That's fine. That's great. But I can add value, I think, there as well. So I'll talk about personal relationships, not only with lovers, but also with children. I have 5 of them. Eddie Murphy's doubled me, but then again, he's doubled, quadrupled my salary as well. So, hey, no competition there. But, and I'll talk about that as well. Children, friendships, and we'll get into those topics as well. But if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to drop me a line and have a great day. Bye.